Why is doing a weekly review so important? And how do I do my weekly review and planning in Notion? Let's chat about it. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick Russell, and this is Let's Chat Tech with Nick. Now, this week I want to talk about doing weekly reviews and how I use Notion to do those reviews. And this is something I talked about back in February, but my system has changed a little bit, and I want to talk about how important doing a review is now as we get closer to 2025 and take you through the steps and process I use in Notion to complete that review. Now, doing a weekly review can help you in a whole number of different areas. So the first area is productivity. Now, doing a weekly review and getting into that habit of doing one every single week is going to help you be a lot more productive. It's going to help you identify where you went wrong this week and then how you can improve into the following week. And ultimately, it's going to help you get a lot more done in a lot less time. As you stick with this habit, you're going to be more productive and see the areas where you can improve on. In turn, getting more done in a lot less time. Now, the next big thing about doing a weekly review is it helps you on a weekly basis keep track of all of your goals. Now, using the system that I have a planning system to do a yearly review and plan and goal set for the following year. There, I have quarterly reviews to review those goals and make sure we're on track, as well as these weekly reviews will help you keep track of all of those goals. So I have goals in 3 areas: in health, wealth, and relationship. So I go more into that in the yearly review, but each week I break down what those 3 goals are and how I'm progressing with those goals. So doing a weekly review will help you achieve those goals a lot faster. And the last tip in doing these weekly reviews before we really dive in is time management. Doing a weekly review and setting yourself up for the following week is really going to help you manage your time a lot better. Now, we'll get into it a little bit more, but plotting out the different tasks, meetings, and appointments that you have throughout the week and each day, doing that review, you can see where you messed up last week, where all your time was spent, and then you could readjust that for the following week so you could have a lot better time management. Now, with all of that said, let's dive into the actual Notion planner and how I do my weekly review. Now, doing this weekly review is basically a list of journaling prompts that help you review the following week in order to help you plan for the next. Now, this was a system that I've modeled off of what Abdaal does, and with his permission, I talked to him and asked him if I could tweak and model what he does to use for myself, as well as make a template out of that. He was completely on board with it, so here we are today. Now, the first section, the first journaling prompt, is reviewing your top 3 goals for the year. And like I had mentioned, those goals are in health, wealth, and in relationship. Now, there is a wheel that Abdaal designed, and focusing on those 3 main areas has that broken down into subsections for each subsection: for wealth, for health, and your relationships. And in that wheel, what he asks is you plot out where you see yourself at that moment between 1 and 10. If your career is an 8 out of 10, you're doing great, but there's still room for improvement. You can put that as an 8, and then he'll shade that in a different color so it looks a little better when it's completed. Now, that's something that I review every week, taking just the main goals that you have in each of those areas and reviewing, writing a couple sentences down on where you are in your health journey with that goal, your wealth with that goal, and your relationship, whether that be with a significant other, with yourself, it doesn't matter. Plotting down those goals each and every week will help you always keep in mind what your goals are throughout the year and help you achieve them a lot faster. Now, if you did achieve a goal, you can set the bar even higher. So if your goal was to get 5 new clients for the year and somehow by, say, March or April, you've done that, you can take that same goal but adjust it and get another 4 more, or hire somebody to your team so you can actually get even more clients and help more people out. So that's the first section of this weekly planner. Now, the second question in the weekly review is a very important one, and it's important for your mindset. It's, let's celebrate what your wins were last week. Now, I take the top 3 wins that I've had. There are weeks where I actually have a few more, say 5 really big wins that happened. But whether it be personal or professional, or even a win in a relationship, which kind of ties into personal, write that down. Write down what the win was, how you made it, how it made you feel. So that way you're reflecting on those wins, and that gets you into a great mindset going forward, especially for our next question. Now, this next question is a little more difficult to answer, but the more honest you are, the better it is, and the better it's going to help you. We want to see what our challenges were the previous week, where we felt uncomfortable, and we want to write that down. Did a meeting not go the way you had planned? Did you talk to your boss and you got in trouble for something? Or if you got into a fight with your significant other? Whatever the case may be, jot down where you were uncomfortable last week. So reflecting on that can help you improve so you don't make the same mistakes going forward. All right, now this fourth section is probably my favorite. Now, I've always loved planning ahead for the following week, and that's where this section comes in. Now, the way I have this laid out is I have this laid out by each day of the week, and then I leave a little bullet point in between each day. So I literally plot out all of my meetings, all of my calls, all of my major tasks that reoccur throughout the week. So filming YouTube content, filming TikTok content, creating client content, morning routine, and then a subsection to that morning routine, website maintenance, whatever the case may be. I plot out my week kind of loosely in what I need to get done. So everything for a Monday, for Tuesday, and then what I'll do after I plot everything out, I'll reorder it into what needs to get done first, second, and third. And I do this using the Eat the Frog method. So the frog being the biggest, hardest task that has to get done right away. And then the second frog, the second task that's the next biggest. And then I trickle my way down to the easiest tasks. So that way the end of the day goes by a lot faster, a lot smoother. And you feel a lot more accomplished having those major big tasks done first thing in the morning and then working your way down. Now, what this will do is this will help you time block a lot easier. Everything is laid out exactly the way you need it. And then we'll talk about time blocking in a second, but for this purpose, we fill out this section and plot out exactly what needs to get done next week. Now, the next question, the next part of this planning session is I want you to identify the top 3 things that have to get done next week. And if those tasks get done, you'll feel like it was a successful week. You won the week. So whether that be get all of your client content done, get a YouTube video written, filmed, edited, and published, whatever the case may be. It could be something as simple as meeting friends at the bar for a couple beverages. Whatever the case is, what are the top 3 things that have to get done next week in order for you to consider next week successful? Now, the flip side of that is, what are you going to say no to next week? So whether that be maybe you've played Grand Theft Auto 5 a little too much, or maybe you hopped on your cell phone and scrolled TikTok way too much. or played Clash of Clans hours on end when you could have been productive. I want you to write down one thing that you're going to say no to next week in order to help make it a more productive week. Now, that's not to say you're going to say no to playing Clash of Clans on your phone. Maybe that's saying no to playing Clash of Clans between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Once your day is done, you're sitting down after dinner, you can relax doing that. But something that you want to say no to that's going to help you be better the following week. So that's something to jot down. Now comes one of my favorite parts about this whole weekly review and planning process. It's time blocking for the next week. Now, plotting out what I need to get done, I love doing that, but actually getting in and time blocking, I love it. I love seeing that in my calendar, seeing everything laid out nice, neat, and organized, ready to go for the following week. It just helps me be a lot more productive. And the way I do that is I use 2 separate apps, but I only use one to complete the task. Now, with Google Calendar and Todoist, they both have a two-way sync. So if you go into the Todoist settings, you can have that two-way sync with your Google Calendar. So when you go into Todoist now and actually get your time blocking done using the natural language that Todoist has for setting due dates, it will automatically know when to set that task and then how long, and it'll show up in your calendar. So for example, you have to do task A Monday morning at 8 a.m. for 1 hour and 30 minutes. That's all you have to type. Monday at 8 a.m. for 1 hour, 30 minutes. And what that's going to do is it's going to automatically take that block of time and block it off in your Google Calendar. So with everything that I plotted out for the week that needed to get done, I jot that down in Todoist, giving them a time and a length. And then once that's finished, all my time blocking for the following week is done. Now, the cool thing about this is I actually work with Todoist, and I have 2 months of Todoist Pro for free. So if you want to try out all of the Pro features, now don't get me wrong, Todoist is an amazing app by itself, completely free, and they've even added reminders into the free plan. But to get the most out of Todoist, I highly recommend, especially since I'll get it to you for 2 months for free. I'll leave that in the description of this video. But that's how I do all of my weekly planning, is I use Notion for the review and to plan out what needs to happen, and then Todoist syncs with Google Calendar to do all of my time blocks. Now, I did mention that I do all of this in one template. It is my Planning Hub template, and this planning system has everything from doing a yearly review and using that goal wheel to set all of my goals through the year. And not only that, I have quarterly reviews set up in this Notion template where I can use that to keep with my goals and see where I'm at each quarter. And then obviously the weekly review. And then I also have a daily planner where I set myself up with a really good mindset for the morning, plot out all of my tasks using the Eat the Frog method, as well as plotting out all of my meetings, and then reflect back on the day, talk about my wins, my challenges, and how I could be better for the next day. Now, all of that is in one Notion planning system. So this template, if you want to try that out, I'll leave a link in the description. And with that said, that's what I have for you this week, and I'll see you on the next video.